Hey yo, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and we are just a couple of days away from the start of the final event of the 2024 VCT season. We're off to Seoul for Champions, which means we got ourselves some early morning games, which also means we may be doing some VOD reviews as early as that afternoon. But it is going to be a busy week to kick things off, because not only do we have VCT Champions starting up, but we've got the Esports World Cup for Apex Legends. We've also got the final week of the Shift Summer League for Rocket League, and we've been covering a little bit of all of that over here on the channel. So if you're an esports junkie just like me, feel free to check those things out at the end of the video. And of course, if y'all like the vibe, y'all already know what to do. But of course, y'all clicked on this video right here to get into some VCT. So let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. It's time for our pick'ems here when it comes to group play. Now, I am going to try and crank out another Pick'ems video for the playoffs portion of VCT Champions as well once we got that bracket set. But as far as for now, we've only got our group play here. Let's actually get started off in Group A. I do feel like Group A is one of the easier groups here as far as for the Pick'ems, but I am going to kind of be walking through some of these things. I'm going to be honest, I still don't know exactly how I'm picking out Group B and Group D. Especially Group D, man. Group D looks like it's going to be tough. But let's start off in Group A here. It's going to be starting off with Fnatic and Bilibili Gaming at the top. I think Fnatic takes that one pretty easily. I do think of the two opening matches, I think DRX and KRU will be a little bit closer, but I think DRX takes that one as well. I guess the real question comes when it comes for like the winners bracket of Group A. Which Fnatic shows up? Also, which DRX shows up as well, to be fair. I mean, both of them kind of had this up and down season, starting off a little bit slow. Both have definitely gotten hot as of late. I would really love to say that Pacific shows up big, because I do think that they are sending 4 really, really good teams to Seoul. But I think Fnatic take it. I think they're the first team qualified in Group A. Of course, that does put DRX still 1 game away from qualifying. They'll play the winner of Bilibili Gaming versus KRU Esports. And I'm going to feel bad during these pickups, man. I'm probably going to be beating up on the Chinese teams a little bit. They just have not shown us on the global stage that they've got what it takes. Honestly, I even still got quite a bit of questions about EDG down in Group D once we get there. But I just don't think Bilibili Gaming is going to be able to walk out of Group A. I don't think they take a series. I do think KRU will be moving on to play against DRX. Of course, that's going to be a repeat of that opening matchup here for KRU, for DRX. Y'all know I love the story of redemption where that team does get to bounce back and get the W. I just don't think it's happening here, man. I think DRX has a point to prove. So go ahead and give me a Fnatic, and DRX is our 2 people advancing from Group A. As far as for Group B, bro, Group B is tough, man. Especially starting off with Gen.G versus Sentinels. Gen.G has been like the epitome of consistency throughout the course of the 2024 VCT season. When you think about it, when you look at teams who have performed well, performed deep into the VCT Masters events, even the kickoff event as well, teams have always tended to struggle a little bit coming back from those. That's something that Gen.G has not done. I wonder if maybe at some point does that burnout start to come into effect for Gen.G, maybe against a team like Sentinels, who have kind of been a little wavy as of lately. If Sentinels comes in hot, I think this is going to be a close series. If they don't, though, I think Gen.G walks away with it. I think either way, though, I do think Gen.G take this series against Sentinels. Now, FPX versus Team Heretics. And again, another banger of a matchup. Honestly, a lot of our matchups are going to be bangers. I mean, we got 16 best Valorant teams in the world, or at least 16 of the best teams in the world at Seoul, so they really should all be bangers. Again, I just don't know if I trust this FPX roster enough. I do really like what I've been seeing from Team Heretics. I know Team Heretics kind of fumbled the bag a little bit as far as during EMEA playoffs, but I think I'm going to take Team Heretics over FPX. And I also think, because of the little bit of fumble that we've been seeing lately, I just don't think I can feel confident enough in picking them over Gen.G. Give me Gen.G as the first team qualified from Group B there. Now, in that elimination game here from Group B, Sentinels versus FPX, I think FPX could pull the upset here depending on which Sentinels team shows up. I am banking on a familiar Sentinels roster that we saw kind of during kickoff, the one that was getting hot, the one that's been better more often than not here in stage number 2. I think I'm going to take Sentinels. here in the elimination game. Now, what's going to be interesting here is, of course, Heretics. They did lose to Sentinels last time they played against them on the global stage. And we keep talking about the up and down which Sentinels team shows up. We really could ask the same question about Team Heretics. I felt more confident about the upper bracket game. That's 1,000% sure. But you know what? Go ahead and give me Team Heretics as our bottom team qualified from Group B. So that gives us Gen.G and Team Heretics here. Moving into group number C, y'all. And what's interesting here, chat, what's incredibly interesting when we look at Group C, Talon Esports, of course, the pickup of PRIMMIE to be able to even qualify for VCT Champions in Seoul. Man, I'm telling you what, if you had them playing against, I mean, anybody else in this bracket, I think to start off the bracket, I think Talon Esports walks away with the dub. I really do think PRIMMIE is different. I think could lead them lead them the distance against Trace Esports. I even think against Team Vitality too, as high praises as y'all are going to hear me singing of Team Vitality here in just a minute. But against Leviatan, I mean, bro, Leviatan's been different. Not only that, they've been getting led by Aspas, the best player that there is when it comes to, I mean, just straight slaying potential in VCT. And you got to give credit to Aspas as well. We're gonna be talking about the 5 best storyline leading into VCT Champions here in another video later this week. Probably drop that like Wednesday. We're also gonna do a top 10 players to watch. By the way, this is a story that you're gonna be hearing in both of those videos. But when you think about Aspas, man, a player that has sat at the top as a duelist, I mean, we've seen Ye come and go. We've even seen Artists, in a sense, kind of start to fall off this last split. Demon 1 come and go. Aspas has been a player that has consistently sat at the top. I think this is where Aspas really gets to tell his story. Went over to Leviatan. They built a super team. I think this is where they get to shine. As far as that lower half of the opening bracket, you got Team Vitality, you've got Trace Esports. I keep being the guy that's picking against the Chinese teams, bro. But I was just saying, I really love the story of Team Vitality. A really up and down split number 1. Had big wins in split number 1, but big losses in split number 1. Sorry, stage number 1, which caused them to not even be able to make Masters, right? I do think they have what it takes to beat Trace Esports. But again, I just don't think they've got what it takes to be able to take down Leviatan there. So I do think Leviatan's going to be our first one through over on that C side. That gives us Talon and Trace. I said it earlier, I think PRIMMIE is built different to be able to take down Trace Esports. But with Team Vitality being a game away from qualifying for the playoff bracket, is that where Talon Esports shocks the world? Imagine if they do. Because that would mean technically by this case then, right? We'd be looking at a third Pacific team qualifying for the playoffs. Probably the least expected of the 4, right? I did not give Talon Esports credit during my VCT Pick Ems. To be fair, I didn't know that PRIMMIE was getting called up there. Do I think they beat Team Vitality? I don't think they do. Go ahead and give me Team Vitality, stopping the 3-for-3 when it comes to Pacific teams through groups A and C, advancing into that playoff bracket, which then only brings us to one more. That's Group D. And Group D is going to be a banger, man. Group D is probably the hardest to call, especially because of the way that the bracket broke down. Because I think if you had G2 and PaperX playing against Edward Gaming and FUT Esports, no matter how you match those two, I think it's easy enough to send both G2 and PaperX through to the winner's bracket, with the winner's bracket, and into that winner's, like that top side where one of them advances. But they are playing each other in the first round, which could really start off and really like soil one of these two teams' soul trip, right? Get the mental in a little bit of a bad state. But before we go down and pick the harder game here in Group D, let's talk about Edward Gaming. Let's talk about FUT Esports. Y'all know I'm a huge FUT Esports fan, but I do think that if there is a team from China that gives us a chance of potentially having a 4-region Final Four and having all 4 regions in the playoff bracket, I do trust most in Edward Gaming. I think they take down FUT Esports in a banger. Don't be surprised if they actually like just come out and completely trounce FUT, because FUT does like to play that more deliberate play style, right? But I think I got to roll with Edward Gaming over FUT Esports. Puts FUT Esports in that elimination game. The question then becomes between G2 and PaperX. PaperX, of course, I mean, looking phenomenal. G2, the story of ascension to champions. They're now here at Champions. Can they start Champions off with a win? I think this goes 3, but I do think I've got to favor PaperX, which is going to send G2 down into that elimination game. I got to say I favor G2 over FUT Esports right off the bat. I know we're doing the order of the brackets a little bit different this time around, but y'all are just going to have to deal with it. In the winner's bracket with Edward Gaming versus PaperX, funny enough, as good as PaperX is, I think EDG does play the type of style that could actually throw PaperX off of their game a little bit. Play that like risky versus risky play style, catch some momentum. I don't think they do though. I think I still got to lean towards PaperX advancing in that top side, which then means, do I have faith in Edward Gaming taking down G2, ending the potential story of ascension to champions? I mean, I guess they're already technically here to champions, but being able to go from ascension to champions playoffs for G2. Something tells me I'm going to regret doing this, chat. I think I got to roll with G2. NA on top, baby. G2's kind of been on a little bit of a run as of late. I think the story, especially at this point being so close for playoffs, could be huge. Now, obviously, you lose this game, it's over for G2. They're out before the playoff starts, right? But I do think winning a game like this against EDG, which I do expect to be a banger, could be the catalyst to truly allow G2 to catch that momentum, to have some really, really good games in the playoffs bracket, maybe even turn some heads. So that gives us Fnatic, DRX, Gen.G, Team Heretics, Leviatan, Team Vitality, PaperX, and G2 Esports as our 8 teams advancing into that playoffs bracket at Seoul. Of course, I mean, I know Pick Ems, man, you can't ever always get them right. I know, especially when it comes to the YouTube comments, y'all got some ideas of where I missed, where I hit. Definitely feel free to let me know down in those comments below. Remember, those comments as well as those likes, those are the 2 things that helps YouTube out as far as lets them know they should be putting the content out in front of more people, especially as we're chasing down that first 1,000 subscribers. We're getting really, really close to that first 500. So if it's your first time through over here and y'all really enjoyed the vibe, man, help me out, man. Hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. We cover a little bit of everything over here. ALGS, VCT, RLCS. I mean, even this weekend, we're doing a little bit of watch partying for the HCS, the Halo Championship Series for the event down in Atlanta. We're just esports junkies over here, man. So if you enjoy some esports and some weekly content across multiple titles, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. And of course, until we catch y'all back over here for the next one, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.